Okay, my longest night was only about 3 hours long. But when you hear an intruder walking outside your apartment in the middle of the night, even a few seconds feels like forever. That's right, walking outside your bedroom. I was sharing an apartment in New York City with my friend Adriana, but she was away for the night, staying with a boyfriend in Brooklyn. I had woken up with a start at 1:30 in the morning. I didn't know what woke me, but I sat straight up in bed. It didn't help that my two cats were also sitting straight up, staring at the door. Cats are singularly unhelpful in situations like that. They don't bark or growl or attack, they just go, "Did you hear that?" Now, I knew that it wasn't Adriana having come home unexpectedly, because she would have turned the light on in the hallway or in the kitchen. It didn't bother anybody where we were to have the light on, and this person, whoever it was walking around outside the bedroom door in the dark. Now, we were on the 5th floor of a 6-story older building in New York City, and the front bedroom faced Broadway, so we were used to a lot of noise. There were always sounds night and day, sirens, cars honking their horns, drunks walking down the street, people singing, yelling, in the stairwell, people going up and down, talking, and so on. And the building itself made sounds. The elevator creaked startlingly, and there would be people out in the courtyard. We could hear sounds from other apartments sometimes. So I listened extra hard, trying to figure out if these sounds were coming from one of the other apartments. But I was quite convinced that no, this person was walking around in our apartment. Now, the apartment layout was actually a 1-bedroom apartment that was being used as a 2-bedroom, because each room was big enough to have a little bedroom area and a little living room area. And I was in the I was in the first bedroom, and it had 2 doors, because it used to be the lounge room. When you walked into the apartment from outside, you were in a large entrance foyer, and my first bedroom door was the first door on the left. If you walked in a U-turn, you would be in the kitchen. If you walked straight ahead, you passed 2 closed cupboards, then turned left, walked past Adriana's room on the right, which led out to the Broadway windows and a fire escape, and my other bedroom door on the left. And then you could go around to the further left to the bathroom. Now, my bedroom doors, because they had been the lounge room, were quite flimsy wood and had panes of glass down each side, and just a little hook and eye lock, so very break-intoable. I didn't feel terribly secure knowing somebody was out there. I began to think about what would this intruder be here for? What did they want? They say most burglars try to get in and out quickly, just grab things and go, and they prefer not to encounter someone. So I thought, if this burglar is like most, they'll realize that these bedroom doors, even though flimsy, are locked, and that someone must be in there, and they'll look around and grab things and go. However, whatever they might grab was very slim pickings in our place. Adriana had a stereo she'd gotten from the hard rubbish. I had a small, tiny TV on top of the fridge in the kitchen. This was pre-computer day, so no laptops. Anything else would have just been any jewelry we each had, or some our wallets, and my wallet, since Adriana wasn't home. And they also say most intruders don't want to encounter people, but what if this one didn't mind? Or what if this one was here because they knew that women lived in the apartment? Or they would take advantage of us in confronting me to have, rape, murder, whatever, as well as burglary. I remembered a few months earlier there had been a kind of a dodgy exterminator who had come. We got exterminators in the building twice a year, so we would let them in. And this guy had all the equipment, but he seemed to be looking around the apartment a lot more than usual, rather than just spraying the baseboards. He also seemed to be waiting for me to get off the phone, since again I was alone in the apartment, so I didn't get off the phone until after he was done and left. But I thought, what if it's that guy and he's come back now to steal stuff or me? I also remembered a friend who'd been burgled and who said how the intruder had placed kitchen knives all over her apartment, so that since she was out of the apartment, if she walked back in, he would have had one to use to confront her. All these thoughts are going through my head in the middle of the night. My next thought after deciding what the burglar was there for was what should I do? My nerves were on high, and the more I sat there, the worse it got. And the footsteps were continuing intermittently. They moved around, down the hall, back into the kitchen, and out again. I wondered, should I phone the police? The problem was the phone was quite a ways away from the bed, over by the door leading out to the hallway. And the other problem was it was one of these old rotary dial phones, so even dialing 911, and then they'd hear me talking and could probably break in and murder me before I got a chance to give my address. So I thought, well, how about I could just be prepared for when he broke in. That's how I was thinking at that point. I thought of pretending to be asleep, but that was just too scary to consider. Then I remembered another friend who'd woken up to find a man standing in her bedroom. He'd come in on the ground floor through the French doors. She jumped out of the bed without even thinking and grabbed the nearest thing, which was an alarm clock, and screamed, "Get out, get out, get out!" And thank God he did. I thought, well, I don't have one of those portable alarm clocks. Mine's a clock radio, so I'd have to yank the cord out as well. Okay, there's a book there. I could grab that. Maybe just throwing anything kind of puts them off guard. And maybe, that would just make him run. But what if he didn't? Then I thought, what if I called out and said, "Oh, Adriana, is that you?" Or even better, "John, is that you?" And hopefully that might make him run. Again, but what if he didn't? And I thought, how had he come in, through the front door or the fire escape? Which way would he therefore run? If he'd come in through the fire escape, would he go out through the door? It was making myself crazy thinking about all these things. What if I got up and walked over to my bedroom door and turned on the light? Or stomped over to the door and walked out into the front hallway? Would that scare him off? Or if I was out there in the front hallway, I could run for the front door and unlock it if it was locked, or run out otherwise, and go out into the hall and yell and maybe wake up my neighbors, or run down the stairs. It was almost 3 a.m. by this time, by the way. I'd been going through all these things for quite a while. And I knew there was a phone booth out in the street. Even though it was 3 a.m., of course, New York never sleeps, so there certainly would be people out there as well. Now, the footsteps were still happening intermittently, and it seemed like he was wandering around the flat. It was very hard to tell where he was at any specific time, though. So I was starting to lean towards the option of getting up, as I might have done if I'd woken up without hearing the footsteps and just decided to go to the bathroom. I thought, I'll turn the light and just go out there. This plan had a couple things to recommend it. If I could get to the bathroom, it had a much heavier door and a sturdier lock. That also, it had a little window, which we always left open, and I could yell out to the other people in the apartment building. Last but not least, I really had to go to the bathroom by this point. So despite my terror, I was starting to feel that this would be a good option. In fact, I was still frightened though, and as the need to pee increased, I actually started thinking, oh, could I pee somewhere in my room? Where? The kitty litter was in the bathroom, so again, the cats were no help at all. I didn't have any cups or water glasses there. There was a pot plant, but the logistics of that didn't seem very workable. So finally, at about 4:30 a.m., I got up, stomped over to the door, turned on the light, and walked out into the hall and quickly to the bathroom. And TMI, perhaps, I left the bathroom door open because I wanted to see him coming at me if he was. I didn't want to be stuck in the bathroom for the rest of the night wondering if he was still out there. Nothing happened, so I got up and went out into the hallway, turned the light on quickly in Adriana's room. There was nothing in there. The fire escape window wasn't open. I walked out into the entrance foyer, turned on that light and the kitchen light. Nothing. No one. Door not broken into. Nothing disturbed. No one. And then I heard the sounds again. They were coming from another apartment. Now that I was out in the hallway, I could tell. Well, after that, I left every single light on, went back to bed, and slept like a log. It was lucky I didn't have work the next day, as it had been a very long night.